going to add a little bit of olive oil to a pan. And I'm going to get some onions going in here. So let me bring up my next tray and show you what we're going to do. So here are my onions, one generic onion, just minced up in a pan. You get that going, you want to get this soft. And with this, to flavor this, we are going to add another artisanal product from Emilia-Romagna. Raw cured ham, known as prosciutto crudo. And when you buy it thinly sliced like this. It should have a beautiful pinkish looking color. It should have a nice line of white fat around the edge. This is a prized ham from Emilia-Romagna, and it's cured raw with salt, thyme, T-I-M-E, and air. So when you buy ham like that, it's expensive, but it's worth it, and it's going to be wonderful in this recipe. So we're going to get these onions cooked down a little bit. And for this recipe, we are dealing with another type of pasta to stuff. And you all know this. You call it manicotti. But there is another name for it. It's often called in Italy mille righi. But with this pasta, we're going to pre-cook it. So again, buy a good brand, and when you get it home and you want to make this recipe, you want to cook them just until they are al dente. You don't want to get them to mush, and you'll know they're mush, that you've overcooked them, if they're totally flat. That's overcooked pasta. We want to cook these a little bit on the firm side because we're going to be filling them, and it'll give you better control if you can fill them when they're firmer. And remember, you're going to also bake them again in the oven. So those have been partially cooked. Okay, onions cooking down. Now we add our garlic. You don't want to add the garlic with the onions because by the time the onions are cooked, the garlic will be burnt. So always add the thing that's going to take the most time first. So that's in. And here we have the prosciutto crudo, all diced up. We're going to add some carrots first. And those are shredded carrots, and you want to shred them because you want them to go into the shell very easily. So carrots go in. Some salt, a little pepper, and the diced prosciutto goes in. So this gets all cooked together, and we're going to let that go now because we need to talk about the sauce that's going to go with this. This doesn't have to be crispy. You just want to get it soft, and you want to have it flavoring the onions and the carrots. All right, so let's turn this down a little bit so we don't have burnt food here. Talk to you about the sauce. In this pot, I've got some butter, 1 stick of unsalted butter. And we're going to make a besciamella, which in Italian is a white sauce, a cream sauce, made with butter and milk and flour. So you heat up butter, one stick of butter for this recipe, and here I have a 1/2 cup of unbleached all-purpose flour. So I'm going to put that right in with the butter. And you get yourself a trusty whisk, and you whisk the flour into the butter until it's smooth. You want to make sure that that's not lumpy because you really want to make a nice smooth sauce. So give it a couple good turns with a whisk. And meanwhile, you've got some milk ready that you've either microwaved so that it's warm, or you can heat it up in a separate pan. And the reason you want to heat the milk before adding it to the flour and butter mix is because you don't want to bring the temperature down. So if you started with cold milk, you would bring the temperature down and be a little longer for you to make the bechamel. And I think an easier way to do this is to transfer the milk to a large measuring cup like this, heat it in the microwave, and then pour it into your pan. That allows you to keep your stovetop clean. And everybody loves that. So there goes the milk. And now you have to whisk this until it thickens. We're going to give this some salt. and a little bit of pepper. You could use white pepper in this as well. So you really want to whisk that until the mixture thickens. Now we're right where it should be, a thickened bechamel. And let me show you what that looks like so that you know what the consistency should be. There, you see, when it just lightly coats a spoon like that. So this is butter, flour, and milk. But to this particular bechamel, we are going to add this cheese. This is Fontina. Fontina cheese is from the Val d'Aosta in northern Italy, and it's a cow's milk cheese. It's semi-soft, but it's wonderful for this recipe because Fontina is a great melting cheese. So we're going to put the Fontina in and whisk that around until it melts. And then you want to have ready some fresh thyme. Fresh thyme. Don't use dried thyme. Don't use dried herbs because they have no oils. When you rub fresh herbs between your fingers, you know they're fresh because you can smell those oils. So we're going to put some fresh thyme in and allow this to melt. Okay, now we have to transfer this to a bowl. And this is enough filling to, again, do enough for a buffet. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of this sauce and add it to my filling to help this as a binder. And I'm also going to give it a little bit of Parmigiano Reggiano because I like that cheese. So I'm going to put a little Parmigiano in and take some of this, just a little, because the rest is going to go over the top. Okay, you stir that in, put this back on the flame, get that going. Stir this up well. And then you want to let it cool down a little so that you can handle it. And all you do is take a spoon and plop it right in there. And you know what? I'm going to use my fingers because that's the way I like to cook. So it's almost like filling a cannoli shell. So you fill these up and don't overfill them because if you do, they will split and then they won't look very nice. So you'll know that they're just right, just plump enough by just feeling them along the whole edge and knowing that there's filling all the way down. And you want to put them, as I say, in a buttered baking dish. Now for this recipe, you want your oven on at 350 degrees. Okay, I think you get the idea. Let me take this and spread some of this sauce right over the top. Look at how beautiful that is. So velvety and thick, and it's going to be delicious. Okay, spread it over the top neatly. And then you want to give it a little cheese. I'll give it a little bit more Parmigiano Reggiano because I really love that cheese. And now we want to cover that. Piece of foil goes over the top. Your oven is on at 350 degrees. So there you have it.